We're back. More trees right here today. See, I was gonna see if I go without this light, but I think we need it. And getting down there in squares. We got the lake down here we're gonna finish off, the trees, mountains, and then call it a wrap. Put it in the frame, put it on the wall, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. All right, here we go. Just gonna jump right into it. This square today we're working on, for those who watched yesterday, there's a lot going on in this one, and a lot of trees are kind of poking out in this square we're doing today, or like kind of finish off the top of it. So I want to get going here because it might take a little bit longer. But same old process, starting out with my 2H pencil here. I got my reference image here. I'm just gonna get into the zone a little bit. Hey John, how's it going? Good afternoon to you. If I remember right, John, you are in Washington as well, right? Is this that, John? So just starting out with my 2H pencil, making little marks in the direction of my tree branches, horizontally, of course. Don't want to do vertical lines because those might show up. Just slowly building texture. Yes, Eastern Washington. All right. I don't know if I mentioned, we just moved to Washington a few years ago from Minnesota. And so far we really like it. Lots to see and explore. And there's in Minnesota too, but there's obviously quite a few more mountains here, which I really like. Minnesota, if you don't know, is very flat. The land of 10,000 lakes, which is actually more like 12,000. So, yeah, just building texture. We're gonna go 2H pencil, then an HB pencil layered on top, and then a 2B pencil, and with that final darker value, we really start to form the trees. Really cool picture, bro. Thank you. Here, I'll show you the whole thing. Looks like a bunch of people just jumped on. Here's the full thing, and I'm gonna go to right here. As I've mentioned, I like to leave a border on my paper because it makes it a little easier to mat and cut it down, and I can sign it down here on the white part. A little easier for framing too. No way. Well, thank you. Thanks. Yes, thank you. A lot of patience. It takes forever. How long are you drawing it? So I started in April of 2024, but I haven't been working on it every day until recently. I kind of put my drawing tutorials ahead. So the way I made myself commit to drawing on it every day was going live every day. But I'm sure by now a lot of people who, I don't know if people tune in every day actually, but I draw a lot of trees on here, so people might be bored of trees. Let's see. It's a beautiful state. If you get a chance, you should drive over Highway 20 across the North Cascades. I just went on a trip to North Cascades to Trapper's Peak. And I shot a little video there. I recorded a video of one of those drawing adventures. If you watch any of those videos of mine, I only have 2 posted so far. but I've recorded 2 more. They take a lot more to edit. So I'm working on the 3rd one now. But the 4th one is, yeah, it's from North Cascades, off Highway 20, the Thornton Lakes area, if you're familiar with that. And then I hiked up to Trapper's Peak. Pretty challenging. Didn't help that I was carrying like 20 pounds of camera gear, drawing gear, tripods. Shall you sell it after completing? You know, it's taken me so long to draw it. If somebody offered me like $10,000, sure, I'd sell it. But nobody's going to offer me that. So chances are it's just going to end up on my wall. And I'm okay with that. I had thought if there was interest doing prints of it, because obviously those can be a lot more affordable. But I haven't decided on that yet. I feel like since I took the photo, I feel like if people wanted a print of it, they'd probably just want the photo rather than the more expensive print of a drawing. But you need a pack goat. I do. My wife has mentioned if the channel ever gets big enough, I should hire somebody to just carry my stuff, which would make the drawing significantly easier. That's what I'm realizing is I can do the hiking, and the recording does get a little grueling, but then to get to these locations and then draw is very hard. Just to have the energy. But that'd be the dream if I could pay somebody to carry my stuff. So starting out, yes, it just looks like scribbles. Here I can zoom in a little closer. But as we add in those next values, it just slowly takes shape. Kind of like a lot of drawing, you know. Don't get discouraged when you're just starting to form things and build in, you know, drawing some simple shapes. If it's not kind of what you're hoping for, let it develop, and after you got a little bit of a sketch down, then start to work on those details and textures and things. Hey, what are you doing over there? I'm sorry, I'm from Russia, but I really love the same things. No need to be sorry. But cool. Yeah, I love, mainly what I focus on for my art is nature, wildlife. At first I was really big into photography, and I still am, but it's just, I think like through Instagram and everything over the years, it's got so saturated with so many photos, but that eventually led into, and I've always been into drawing, but that eventually led into more painting. And then what made my channel focus on drawing is I just had a video that did really well. But I'd like to slowly work in more painting and more of my own sort of art stuff, but we'll see how that goes. I tried one of your beginner tutorials this afternoon, and it went okay. I think I wasn't getting impatient and trying stuff. I wasn't ready yet. I think I was getting impatient and trying stuff. Yeah, I was gonna look it up because I remember your comment the other day, John. But I think, is there a way to play? I think there might be a way to play YouTube videos on half speed. I know you can speed them up to like double speed. But I was gonna look that up for you. You might be able, if you Google it. Maybe somebody knows, but I know you can speed them up, but I was wondering if you can slow them down. And then I wondered how that would alter the voiceover. But sometimes I struggle in naming my videos because it's hard to decipher what's a beginner technique and what's a more advanced technique. What I try to do is just be extra thorough in my explanations. But it's also tough because, a lot of times I can, it's condensing like 45 minutes down to 8 minutes. I watch on television and it doesn't let me change the speeds. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a problem then. It's like ASMR for me. Yeah, I should get, people are probably tired of hearing me talk. I should get one of those nice microphones and just put it right next to the paper. But those ASMR videos are pretty interesting on lives. Just people making clicking sounds and stuff. So we got a couple trees developing here. There's a couple less. They're getting a little bit more light. And then through here, like this kind of half up here is a little darker. So I'm just starting off with these slightly lighter trees. Again, a lot of this develops on the next stage with my 2B pencil. Oops. So I'm just making sure, I have my first 2H pencil here. I'm just making sure to pick my pencil up often so I don't cover up some of that work, and some of those lighter values sit behind and aren't all covered up. Just building texture. How long have you been drawing and what got you started? Well, when I was, I always loved art when I was a little kid, and my teachers used to tape sheets of paper to our desks so I wouldn't draw on the desks. And as I got older, though, you kind of get out of it. But once I got back into photography and back into art, photography was kind of my intro back into art about 12, 13 years ago. Then I just wanted to create more sort of important artwork than just, well, I shouldn't say important. I wanted to create artwork that pushed my creativity more, and I got into painting, and that also, part of painting is a lot of the foundation is in drawing. So then it all just sort of snowballed again, like 10 years ago. And one of my big projects was this animal series called Unnatural Selection that you can check out some of my earlier videos on YouTube. But there's these paintings made out of words that tell the story of these animals. It's a little hard to describe. But that led to some art shows, and I've won some awards for those. And also really got me back into sort of committing to making artwork. And for me, it's not just drawing, but it's painting. It's just sort of creatively expressing myself anyway. It's more that drawing on YouTube is what other people were really interested to hear my thought process, I guess. Let me see. What state are you from? If it's not a secret, of course. No, I'm from I'm from Minnesota, but I currently live in Washington State. But yeah, if you look up or go to my early videos on YouTube, you'll see a few of the paintings I recorded time lapses of. So like there's a grizzly bear, a wolf, polar bear, sea turtle, and then there's one of a bee. And they look like just regular paintings, but if you let the video play, which that's one of the problems, is people won't play more than 30 seconds. But you'll see it's all made up of words. And then those words tell the story. And normally, like the animals, the different species I picked were persecuted in some way or continue to be persecuted in some way. So it's the story of either eliminating those animals and bringing them back, or their current fight, or the current, population status and protection status. There's a lot wrapped into it. Okay, so during my talking there, I switched over to my 2B pencil here, and I'm just starting to really form these trees up. And even though I'm getting in here with my darker shadows, I'm still making sure to lift my pencil up often, because again, we're building this texture. I don't want to cover up all of my previous texture. Let's see, I will check out your earlier work. It sounds interesting. Yeah, I think most people, the videos are cool, but seeing them in person is really where it's at. I had one show here in Washington, which was pretty successful for me because, it's not like anybody really knows me as an artist. But it led to some print sales and I sold a good amount. And I got my name in some, local newspapers and different blogs, so it was all cool. But the art world is tough because you got to keep that going all the time. And they each one took me like a year to make, so it's not like I'm just, putting those things out every couple of weeks. Because in creating them, I would have to do all the research for them. Okay, so there's one tree that kind of formed out. I'll probably brighten up a little bit, kind of got a little distracted, I guess, but there's another one in here we're gonna form, and there's a bunch just kind of hiding back in the shadows here. Okay, I'll move forward. Thank you for rising up my mood. It's really great work. Thanks for stopping by, checking out my work, and for the kind words. Your work clearly takes a lot of patience and attention to detail. Yeah, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. I think that's on these outdoor drawing videos. That's what I'm struggling with the most, is like, it's not really learning how to draw outside. I feel like a lot of times it's learning how to choose what I'm gonna draw outside, because often I'll choose these landscapes that would just be impossible to draw, which that has led to some frustration, but I still get to see, I still out there get to see these cool places, so. But I do always say, like, patience, if you're trying to get really good at drawing or draw realistically, patience is probably like the top skill to have. Here we just got a little bit of trees hiding in the shadow. So this photo was taken in the morning, so there's barely any sunlight coming on the, or like hitting the trees here, and it's coming from the right. So like these trees are shading this little section right here. So this is going to be a little darker. Just in case people haven't seen in a while. And after I get through with the 2B pencil here, I've been doing it periodically, but I do a little sort of tidying up with the eraser to sort of enhance some of this blending effect, which I'll talk about when I get to it. So here again, some of these trees are continuing up that we'll get to tomorrow on our next little square a day. Brightening this up just a smidge. I like this eraser because it doesn't actually erase very well, so I'm just lifting up just a small amount of the graphite. As I mentioned, the light is coming from the right to the left here, so I want to just lighten that side up a little bit. I'm 65 and I started trying to learn to sketch a couple of months ago. I've never really done anything artistic and I'm not sure where I want to go with it. Well, that's a good... I mean, I've seen a few comments about how you're getting frustrated. So I think that could be a key question to figure out is what is your goal with it? Because obviously if you're just trying to have fun, then you gotta sort of ease up on the frustration. But if you're trying to put something on the wall, I don't know. If you're just starting out, I'd say number one, you should just be exploring and try your best not to get frustrated without being able to follow along. Just kind of explore. And also, like I've talked on here a lot, just because my tutorial shows the way I do it, that doesn't mean that's the way you have to do it or the only way to do it. I would say explore ways that work for you, or explore techniques that you prefer or are easier for you. I think like watching tutorials, even though my channel is built off them, often sort of constrains people's creative approach to things. And while I like getting the views, I feel like sometimes those constraints hinder the process. But just still watch my videos though. Just don't follow them. Okay, so we got a few little trees forming in here. Slowly developing. It looks kind of gibberishy on there, whatever. Slowly coming together. Even in these shadowy areas, I just like to make little dots and things because, again, your eyes work better than a camera, so you're gonna pick up all sorts of little variations in shadows. So I don't just like to sit there and keep my pencil to paper continually. I just like to, even in those shadows, I build texture. That's solid advice. I spend as much time as I can outdoors, and I suppose I would like to be able to sketch some of the things I see. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of like, again, on these Drawn to Adventure videos, that's what I'm going for. Because I go on these hikes and I thought, oh, how can I extend not just making videos out there, but also get better at drawing without using a reference image? But in terms of drawing outside, like if you're trying, I suppose I would like to be able to sketch some of the things I see. You're probably talking more like wider landscapes then? Or do you mean like details? Probably wider landscapes. Okay, so you can see we've got a few little trees developing. Right here, right here, right here, right here. And then all these little shadowy bits continue up here into some trees. But I got a little darker than I wanted to. Hold on one second. I'm just gonna, so here's what I do with my eraser when I try to finesse at the end. Got my sandpaper. I give this eraser again that I mentioned isn't super great at erasing, but that's good because I can use it more like a drawing tool. I rough up the end so it's got a little bit of texture to it, and then it erases unevenly. So then when I go in here, it erases unevenly and it further enhances my texture to just slightly lifting up a little bit of graphite. And you can see I'm just tapping, similar to what I did with my pencil, but this can add just some super subtle differences in contrast and build that texture a little bit more, which would be hard to do with a pencil. And then if you take off too much, you just go back in. Let's see, both wider and narrow, if that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So you're out hiking and you see some mountains and you want to draw them, or whatever inspires you, really. Not too far off from kind of what I do. I think then you just need to pick, are you trying to draw realistically? You know, there's all sorts of different styles. Before you go, I have to say you do amazing work. Thanks. And thanks again for all the comments, not just here, but on my videos. And, you know, it motivates me to keep going with this as I'm trying to grow this channel to something. Just putting little hints. There are little trees sort of hiding back here. And this way I can just do it super subtly. So yeah, I like to use my erasers as sort of extensions of my pencils and think about how can I use them to draw and enhance the texture in a way that I can't really do with a pencil. So, you know, with a pencil you have complete control, so things often feel a little more drawn and less organic feeling. Whereas when you do it with an eraser, especially one that, you know, I roughed it up so there's a little rough texture on it, I don't have complete control, so things naturally feel more organic. I hope your channel continues to prosper. I appreciate your patience with my comments and questions. Not a problem. I can understand how it's frustrating to want to get better, and, you know, it's hard. It's hard to develop some of these things. Okay, so let's scale out. So now let's see if it's just in line. So this is the square we worked on, right? Just trying to see how it sort of is in line with the rest of the drawing here. Making sure nothing seems off in scale or texture. It seems a little, I don't know. I don't like how you can see this triangle V coming up out of here, and I don't like that. So there are two trees that split right here. I suppose I should show you the image I'm working off of. So I do have the original photo I took here. That's what I'm drawing, which kind of looks a little bit, it's hard to distinguish a little bit. But like I've been saying on these, I'm going more for, here's the full. For the forest, I'm not really going for 100%, like I need it exact. It's more for inspiration and texture and scale and everything. The mountain I want exact. But anyways, trying to match that a little bit more here instead of having that sort of V come up, because that V makes it look like, I don't know, it's drawn, and I don't like that. Would anybody notice it? Probably not. One moment, please. God dang it. But if anybody's ever looking for tutorials, things they're trying to draw and want help on, drop a comment pretty much anywhere and I'll find it. John, if you're still here, I know you want me to slow down a little bit on my tutorials. Oh, the computer froze, so that's great. Okay. Well, we'll just go with it. Yeah, if there's any tutorials you're looking for, or, you know, things you want to draw, or just questions about, you know, getting art prints or getting your work scanned. Done a lot of that stuff, and it can be confusing at first. Let's see. Really incredible when you can, really incredible when you pan out and it comes to life. Have a great rest of your day. You too, John. Have a good one. So yeah, I'm just finessing this so it doesn't look as much like a pattern. You can see now there's a tree here and a tree here that comes up. And they're not just, and they disappear in the shadows here, but behind this tree and this one probably. But yeah, I think that's looking pretty good. And the phone video here is always a little more contrasty than it is in real life. On the video here, I can see it looks a lot more black and white, where in real life there's a lot more variation in these shadows here. I wonder maybe if I get a different angle. Yeah, it looks about the same. There's a lot more middle values in here than what it looks like on the phone. The phone seems to make ultra contrasty. But I think that's pretty good for today. Tomorrow, continue on to this one, some of these trees that come up. And then we're just down to one more row of trees, which people are probably like, finally, this guy's gonna stop drawing these trees. So I'll finish off all the trees, then we'll do the lake down here, and then finish off the mountain. The reason I'm doing the mountain last is because that's the most tedious part that I'm actually just procrastinating on. And that's the truth. But thanks for watching, everybody, for your comments and checking out the channel. We'll catch you next time.